Higashi here, you know, welcome to the GTA 5 car v car episode 2 of the Feltzer going against the Banshee. And here's the thing, there was been a slight delay in the series, especially with the Feltzer comparisons within the sports category, because when we compared the top speed, there was a lot of variables taking place, so it was very difficult to gather accurate information between cars that I was comparing that yet haven't seen for these car v car episodes against the Feltzer. So basically, I've come to the conclusion that obviously because of these variables, you know, slight little bumps will affect the speed, even the curves and all of this, right? Certain cars will benefit more than others, especially even downhill as well. So all of this got to take into account, and you know, some of these cars don't even reach their top speed and max potential, so certain cars will take longer than others. So because of that, the top speed, realistically speaking, if there's cars that are very difficult to tell apart and they're very close to each other, and obviously the acceleration will pretty much create the gap, then of course I'm going to give the point to both cars for top speed, because I don't want to cause any confusion. So anyway, the Feltzer does have better handling than the Banshee. The Feltzer's got better turning ratio, except that the Banshee itself does have a better turning circle. However, the tendency to oversteer slightly more, and the Banshee was slightly less traction and downforce than the Feltzer. So Feltzer would dominate for efficiency and predictability around corner. However, the Banshee would dominate the acceleration against the Feltzer regardless, even though you sort of saw a slight little lag there, but either way, Banshee would dominate. But the Feltzer will slowly creep up with its top speed. It does take quite some time to hit it, and it will overtake the Banshee. And at this point, you know, the gap seems to be decent. I suppose the Banshee is pretty much touching the rear, but then over here the initial gap will increase, and this will pretty much carry on throughout the entire highway. So Feltzer definitely has a better top speed than the Banshee in this case, so that's definitely going to be a point towards Feltzer. As you can see, the gap is pretty much increasing at this point, and it's extremely difficult to test top speed, especially when this car is so close to each other. And the stats are all a lie, man. You know, we know exactly why some of these cars have more top speed, greater top speed than others, but for some reason they don't show that in the game. It doesn't show when you actually compare it. And obviously, there's a lot of lag involved in this as well, to take that into consideration as well. But you know, that's something that is really frustrating when it comes to gathering information for accurate results. But either way you see here, the gap's pretty much increasing. But for torque, this is another interesting one. For some reason, Feltzer stopped there, and the Banshee as well, but then again the Feltzer carried on afterwards, so definitely the Feltzer's got more torque than the Banshee. For a damage test, we'd expect the Feltzer, I suppose, to be more durable, which is the case. $327 to repair the first initial impact, and Banshee for $375 for that. But that was, I personally expected that. For customizable options, there's 11 options in total for the Feltzer, and I believe there's 12 on the Banshee. There's one extra on the Banshee. The Banshee will get a point, which will make it 4-2. Which will mean we're going down to the final test, which is obviously the lap time on a race on a circuit track, consisting of laps. Which car will dominate the most? And here's the thing, guys. Remember the lap time that we will see between both these cars. I didn't do any of that RWAR boosting thing, because otherwise that wouldn't make the test fair. Of course, I didn't do it for either one of these cars in this episode. The thing about both these cars is that it does benefit if you do R1. Sort of handbrake and sort of get your revs high around every single corner, because the acceleration is beneficial, especially on the Banshee, as you would dominate more around corners if you do that. But in a normal environment, in a normal scenario like this, of course the Feltzer is dominating with this amazing turning ratio, a high rates of speed you're taking these corners, and it's very efficient with handling and very predictable as well. Of course, if you get a little bit too happy with turns that are more than 90 degrees, then of course you will oversteer. But that's the thing, the tendency to oversteer in the Feltzer is very minimal, as it does stick to the ground. It's a heavy car, so it's very predictable. So you should know when you're going to oversteer and when you're not. However, in the Banshee is the opposite case. Obviously, it's the car that's quite light, and it couldn't oversteer any second. So it's one of those things. But it's still a nice car to take around corners and accelerate with if you do get high revs with the transmission. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. There you go. The Feltzer is dominating at the moment. Check out Carbon Zero versus Feltzer. Annotation on screen. It will take you straight to the video. I'll see you guys soon. Check your sign out. Good night. Peace. Yeah!